They say history doesn't repeat, but sometimes it rhymes in the most dangerous ways. Imagine a narrow strip of water, just a few kilometers wide, yet powerful enough to shake the entire world economy. A place where empires have clashed, oil has ruled, and one wrong move can ignite a global crisis. This is not fiction. This is the story of the Strait of Hormuz and how it became the beating heart of a modern war. Welcome to History with Qadri. Day 45 of the US-Israel war on Iran, and the battlefield is no longer just land or sky. It has shifted to the sea, to a choke point so critical that nearly 20% of the world's oil once passed through it every single day. Control this route and you control the global economy. Lose it and the world trembles. But how did we get here? The roots of this conflict go far deeper than 2026. For decades, tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran have been building from nuclear disagreements to proxy wars across the Middle East. This rivalry slowly evolved into something far more dangerous. Then came a turning point. In late February 2026, massive strikes hit, Iran reportedly killing top leadership, including Ali Khamenei. That moment changed everything. Iran responded with force-launching attacks across the region, targeting US bases and threatening global shipping lanes. And suddenly, the Strait of Hormuz became the center of the storm. This narrow waterway, only about 21 miles wide at its tightest point, connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. It may look small on a map, but it carries the lifeline of global energy. Oil tankers, gas shipments, trade routes all pass through here, and now it is under threat. As the war escalated, Iran began targeting ships, deploying naval tactics, and even threatening to shut down the strait completely. Within days, traffic dropped dramatically, with reports showing up to a 70% decline in ships passing through. Think about that for a second. 70%. That is not just a regional problem, that is a global shockwave. Oil prices surged, markets panicked, countries began scrambling for alternative routes, even sending ships around. Africa adding weeks to delivery times and increasing costs across the world. But the story does not end there, because the United States responded, and it responded hard. In April 2026, the US launched a naval blockade targeting Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz. The goal was to stop Iran from controlling the flow of oil and to prevent what officials described as economic pressure on the world. Warships, moved in destroyers, began operations. Mines were detected in the water, and suddenly the sea itself became a battlefield. Even more shocking, some of the ships sent to deal with these mines were not even designed for such dangerous missions, yet they were deployed anyway, showing just how urgent and risky the situation had become. At this point, the question was not if the conflict would escalate, it was how far. Iran warned that any blockade would be seen as an act of aggression, even piracy, and promised retaliation, while global powers watched nervously, unsure whether to intervene or stay out. Some allies even refused to join the operation, fearing it could trigger a much larger war. And here is where history starts whispering again. This is not the first time the Strait of Hormuz has been a battlefield. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, hundreds of ships were attacked in what became known as the Tanker War. Oil still flowed, but at a deadly cost. Today, the stakes are even higher. Back then, the world was less connected. Now, a disruption in Hormuz can affect everything from fuel prices in Asia, to food costs in Africa, to electricity bills in Europe. Because this is not just about oil anymore, it is about global stability. Experts have even compared this disruption to being far greater than the 1973 oil crisis. And yet, the conflict continues. As ships hesitate to enter the strait, insurance costs skyrocket. Some vessels turn back. Others wait stuck at sea, unsure if it is safe to move. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a silent war is being fought, not just with missiles, but with strategy. Iran uses fast attack boats, naval mines, and drones, small but deadly tools designed to control the choke point, while the United States relies on advanced warships, surveillance, and alliances trying to keep the route open. But here is the twist. In a narrow space like Hormuz, size does not always matter. Even a small boat or a single mine can stop a massive oil tanker, and that is what makes this place so dangerous. It is not just a battlefield, it is a pressure point. A single spark here could ignite a global crisis, and the world knows it. That is why leaders across Europe and beyond are calling for stability, warning that keeping the Strait of Hormuz open is critical, because without it, the global economy could suffer massive damage. But as diplomacy struggles, the military presence grows. More ships, more weapons, more tension. So, what happens next? Will the strait reopen, fully restoring the flow of oil and calming global markets? Or will it become the trigger for a wider war, pulling more nations into the conflict? History gives us clues, but no guarantees, because every era believes it is different. Every leader believes they can control the outcome, but the Strait of Hormuz has a way of proving everyone wrong. It is not just a passage of water, it is a test of power, a symbol of control, and a reminder that in a globalized world, even the smallest choke point can hold the fate of millions. Day 45, and the world is watching not just the war, but the water, because whoever controls Hormuz may not just control oil, they may control the future. If you found this story powerful, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share History with Qadri, because the past is not just history, it is a warning.